2025 is finally here, and if you're feeling in the mood to reflect on the past year and set some goals for the new one, this video is for you. After leading a workshop about setting style goals for 2025, I came up with 10 ideas that I know are going to change my style in 2025. And so if you want some fresh ideas that you can also adopt, grab your favorite drink and let's chat. So the first style resolution might be a bit counterintuitive, but I promise it's going to make sense, and that is to wear my uncomfortable everyday shoes. So of course, we probably all have that one pair of special occasion shoes that we wear for weddings or maybe presentations or anywhere that we don't need to walk and move a lot. But when it comes to everyday shoes, what I have found is that I prioritize comfort above everything else. And because I have a lot of pairs of shoes that are everyday shoes, meaning that I should be able to wear them for prolonged times, I realized that I still have pairs that I very rarely reach for. But because I only wear them once or twice a season, I also feel really silly parting with them because I feel like I'm not getting my money's worth, or I feel like, well, maybe I'll wear them someday. And so the purpose of this goal is to either get used to the shoes and in that way just make use of them and wear them more, or to feel the pain strong enough that I finally decide to get rid of them because they're just taking space in my wardrobe. And so because of that, I feel like this might be a very practical and impactful resolution that is going to allow me to declutter my shoes in a way that is still sustainable. Now, the second goal is something that I'm going to make a separate video about in a couple of days, and that is to spend $0 on my wardrobe in 2025. I'm calling this Project Zero, and the goal is not to have a no-buy year where I don't buy anything, but I'm going to allow to bring myself certain clothes and certain items, but the overall goal is to spend $0. And so I'm going to go into a lot more detail about why I decided to do it and how it's going to work in the next video. But for now, the important part is that I'm going to focus on not spending any money on my wardrobe because I already have a lot of clothes that I enjoy and I'm planning to make good use out of them in 2025. The next idea actually came from a video I did a while back, and that was when I styled my least worn items from my autumn capsule wardrobe. Because of that video, I actually rediscovered a couple of items that I hadn't really worn, and I've been super excited because they have now become staples in my wardrobe. And so that gave me the idea that my third resolution should actually be that every 2 to 3 months, when I am nearing the end of my capsule, that I should do a video where I style my least worn items in an attempt to actually get more use and wear out of them and figure out ways to wear them in a way that feels like me. This is also going to allow me to see if I'm genuinely not excited about certain items and again allow me to part ways with them in a way that feels emotionally a lot easier. And that actually leads quite nicely to goal number 4, and that is to wear all of my items at least 5 times in 2025. And I know that this is going to be quite challenging, especially when it comes to tops, because I think I have about 100 tops. And so multiplying that by 5 gives me 500 times. And with only 365 days in a year, I think that I will definitely have to change my tops sometimes twice a day, which does happen, to be perfectly honest, but it is still going to be a push. Now, the purpose of this resolution is actually twofold. Number one is to actually get the cost per wear down, which brings me a lot of satisfaction because I know that I'm actually making use of the wardrobe that I spent money on. But the more important reason is that if I've only worn something once or twice, I might have been in a bad mood, I might have been at that time of my cycle where I just don't feel good about my body, and so that item was not something that I enjoyed wearing. But if I wear something 5 times, it's going to allow me to get a much more objective perspective of whether this is something that I genuinely like and enjoy wearing, or whether this is something that I'm just not that excited about and maybe it's better for me to sell it or pass it on. And kind of leading from that resolution, goal number 5 is to actually fit in or get rid of my summer clothes that currently don't fit me. So about 2 years ago, I bought a couple of items that I absolutely love. There's a couple of pair of shorts, there is a skirt and a few tops, and I love them all. I'm so excited to wear them. But unfortunately, in 2024, I had put on a little bit of weight, and so I just couldn't fit into those items. Now, rather than selling them or donating them, I decided that I'm going to keep them, and I put them in storage because I didn't want to see them all the time and just feel guilty and uncomfortable. But I also know that keeping something for 2 years in a row, it kind of means that maybe that's not the way that I'm gonna be in, and maybe it's better to pass them on. And so the goal is that by around maybe June, July time, depending when the summer comes in the UK, if I don't fit into those clothes, and I'm quite far from fitting into those clothes, well, I'm just going to sell them and pass them on because they're really lovely items and they deserve to be worn. And what makes it a little bit easier to live with that idea is that they're from somewhat well-known brands. There is nothing unique or vintage that I could never replace. And so I know that if for whatever reason, maybe I donate something or sell something and 2 years down the line, I want to get the same item, I'll probably be able to find it. And so it doesn't make me feel as uncomfortable as it did this summer. Now, the next goal is something that makes me super excited, and it is something that a few of you have actually suggested, and that is to figure out my body type and my facial essence according to the Kitchener types. And this is something that I've genuinely wanted to do for quite a while. I've dabbled quite a bit into Kibi body types, in the Body Matrix by Ellie Jean, but I feel like I'm really stuck and I'm really struggling to determine what my type is. Now, the purpose of this goal is that I want to be able to recognize when something is or isn't actually going to work for me. And I already feel like I have quite an intuitive sense from having tried so many different styles, for example, of dresses. I kind of know that there are a couple of styles that just don't work on me, or they require a lot of adjustments for me to make them work. And so I kind of stay away from those kind of items, but I want to be able to say, okay, I think that this neckline is really going to work with this outfit, or I need this kind of pair of pants for me to look in this and that way. And especially when it comes to things like public speaking, where I have to be in person, I really want to have a couple of those 100% outfits where I look great and I feel great about myself. And I feel like knowing my body type and facial essences is definitely going to help me with that. And just like with color analysis, I feel that knowledge is power, because now that I know what my color type is, I'm actually much better able to shop and also to break the rules on certain occasions, for example, with my orange bag, because knowing the rules allows me to know how I can actually bend them to incorporate some items that maybe don't necessarily fit within my color type. And so I feel that if I know my body type and my facial essences, I will be able to use them when I need them, and at the same time, maybe try to bend or break the rules if I want to achieve a certain effect. And if you're someone that enjoys this more mindful approach to shopping and styling, definitely give me a thumbs up and subscribe. And now let's go back to the next goal. And that resolution of figuring out my body type and facial essences might seem a bit contradictory to the next one, which is to experiment with some new shapes and styles. Now, because I'm someone that does a lot of videos and generally dresses up every single day, I feel like I have a relatively good idea of what looks good on me and what may be something that I try to avoid. But one thing that I found about myself is that I find it very easy to stick to those rules and sometimes sort of limit myself and not be open-minded to maybe trying a different t-shirt or a different pair of earrings or a different pair of pants because I just decide that this doesn't work for me. And one thing that I've realized when I did my style goal workshop is actually that there is a difference between knowing your style and staying stuck in your style. And there is a lot of power in trying to experiment and expand and just kind of grow your knowledge of what suits you and maybe expand your style beyond what you think you actually just love to wear. And so the purpose of this resolution is genuinely to become a lot more open-minded about clothes. And I actually have a super exciting video that is coming up later in this month. And that is swapping styles with my sister, who actually has quite a different style from me. And so I'm just super excited for you to see it because I had so much fun. And I think I discovered a couple of items that were exactly in this category of, I'll have never bought this, but it actually looks quite good on me. And by the way, it is not too late if you want to check the free Style Goals workshop. You can watch the replay and do the exercises that I led everyone through. It was a lot of fun and a very chill discussion. And so if you want to do that, the link is in the description and in the pinned comment below. Number 8 is something that I feel I'm actually pretty bad at, and that is weird because there is so much content on YouTube about exactly that, and that is recreating outfits from Instagram or Pinterest. So if you've watched any of my videos, you know that I am very intuitive in terms of how I put outfits together. And so if I take a certain item, I would just look around my clothes and maybe what sort of occasion I am dressing for and just go from there and build an outfit based on what's inside my wardrobe. But one thing I find is that I am not always extremely creative, and I am sometimes feeling a little bit maybe outdated or not as interesting when it comes to how my outfits look. And so I feel that the skill of actually using external inspiration beyond that internal inspiration that I have is actually going to help me to expand my stylist potential. And so that is why in 2025, I definitely want to do a couple of videos where I take inspiration from maybe some of my favorite creators or outfits that I find on Pinterest and try to recreate them in my own way, and learning a couple of new ways to maybe combine items and put things together. For example, one trick that I saw on one influencer was actually wearing a t-shirt under a jumper, and that created this very light sort of neckline that created a lot of brightness near my face, and I absolutely loved it. And this was not something that I'll have come up with on my own, but it is now something that I use quite a lot as a technique. And so I want to learn more, I want to experiment more, I want to try more things that I see online, and I'm going to take you along on the journey with me. My ninth resolution is something that I have already been doing in 2024 ever since April, and it is more of a continue to do rather than stop doing or start doing, and that is basically continuing tracking my outfits on Index. I think that in terms of style habits, this is probably in my top 3, and that is because I feel like as human beings, our perception is really flawed. So for example, you might be wearing only half of the items that you have, but because you see everything hanging in your closet, you might have a feeling that you're wearing something a lot more than you actually are. And so when I started tracking my outfits with Index, I realized that I am definitely wearing a lot less than I actually imagined I am. And at the same time, some wardrobe heroes, such as my pair of jeans, emerged that I wore like about 50 times in 2024. And that is just in the half year that I owned it. And for me, that is insane, because if someone had asked me, oh, like, do you wear jeans a lot? I'll have said no. But it turns out that pretty much once or twice a week, I'm actually wearing a pair of jeans. And so tracking your outfits is actually going to give you a much more of an objective view of what you wear, what your style actually is, what are maybe some of your non-negotiables, and what kind of items are truly a great investment. And so for me, this sort of resolution is really going to help me to continue refining my style. And actually, it is going to be super useful for goal number 10, and that is basically to declutter any items that might have been my style a couple of years ago, but are no longer something that I envision myself in. So I'm going to give you a very real example from 2024. I have had these sort of Rixo skirts for the past 5 years, and I had the original Georgia skirt that I bought all the way back in 2020. I loved it, it is amazing, and it is still something that I wear. But throughout the years, I have actually bought a couple of replacements. I've sold some of them, I kept some of them, and I bought another Georgia skirt, exactly the same model, in 2024. And even though I did wear it a couple of times, I realized that I'm getting a lot more wear out of my COS skirt, which is a slightly different shape. And so I realized that my preferences of what I actually enjoy wearing have actually changed quite a bit. And while I am not ready to get rid of some of my favorite Rixo skirts, tracking my items, it's going to allow me to declutter without feeling guilty, because I am allowing myself and my style to evolve and change and basically become the version of me that is relevant for 2025. And a goal that I'm sort of doing, but I've been doing it a little bit more in my head than actually in practice, is to keep a wish list of items that I want to buy or bring into my wardrobe. And this is something that I have sort of done in my notes app. I've had the list of a couple of things I want, but I have not really been very intentional with how I prioritize those things or what I actually put on this wish list when I review it or anything like that. It has been quite chaotic, and so I kind of want to bring a little bit more structure in maybe reviewing that every single month, adding or removing things, and prioritizing based on what I actually need. Now, the second part of the video is about my personal goals for this channel. And so if you're someone that has been here from the beginning, or even if you are a new subscriber, I just wanted to share what you can expect in 2025 and some of the things that I'm really excited about. So my first personal goal for this channel is to actually collaborate with at least 3 fashion creators that I love and enjoy. I really loved my collaboration with Hailey this year. earlier, we talked about Black Friday. And so if you haven't watched this video, definitely check it out here. It was a really good video that we both did. And I really want to collaborate a lot more with other people because I think that the fashion space can oftentimes be very competitive and very catty. And I don't want to participate in that kind of community. And at the same time, I know that we might have audiences that don't overlap. And so I want to bring my perspective maybe to their channel and vice versa. And I think that community is going to be extremely important in 2025 and moving forward. And so that is why I'm probably going to pitch a couple of videos to some of my favorite creators and see where that leads me. Now, the second goal is something that I think is going to happen, and that is to create at least 2 more PDF guides. Now, I have a lot of people that have requested a version of the capsule wardrobe guide, but for warmer weather, because I know that some of you maybe live in a warmer climate, and with the spring and summer coming, this is definitely something that I'm going to do. And I think about 60 people have bought the PDF guide, so I do know that this is something that is going to be useful and needed. And so for me, this is definitely going quite high on my priority list. Now, another guide that I'm working on is all about dressing chic and feminine in the cold. And again, this has been a highly requested video and something that I know is quite a high pay point. And so this is hopefully coming later in January. And I'm really excited about because it's going to be super detailed and super useful. When it comes to publishing videos, I published 26 videos in 2024, and that was in about 3.5 months since I started posting. And so I decided that my goal for 2025 is just going to be 52 videos, which equates to 1 video per week. Now, obviously, my goal is to publish a lot more than that, but realistically speaking, I might change jobs, things might happen in my life. And so while I might post a lot more in January, I might post less in the summer. And so 52 is the goal that I'm aiming, and I think that this is something that I'm going to achieve. And as part of that goal, I definitely want to experiment a lot more with formats. So I already talked about recreating outfits from Pinterest, which is not something that I have done, but I've also recorded my first shopping vlog from when I was in Bulgaria. And so again, this is coming on the channel very, very soon. And I want to try and do maybe decluttering video with one of my friends or building a capsule wardrobe for one of you or anything like that. So if you have any ideas for formats that you want to see on my channel, definitely leave them in the comments below. And based on that, my goal is actually very ambitious, but I know that if I work really hard, it is possible. And that is to grow my audience to about 100K. And the reason why I want to grow to 100K is not just for vanity metrics, but it is a lot more about the impact and reaching a wider audience with my message. Because I am so sick and tired of those videos that are telling you all about the ways that you're looking old or outdated or frumpy. And I never really want to make that kind of content, even though it does get a lot of views. And so I really want to reach a wider audience of people that maybe want to have a more realistic way of approaching their style and finding something that actually works for them. And so growing my channel is going to allow me to amplify my message, amplify my voice, and reach more people. But it is also going to allow me to improve the quality of my videos. And I think that I am doing reasonably well. I'm filming on a webcam. It is an HD, but still a webcam. And I'm recording with my microphone, but it is quite a clunky one. And so whenever I'm filming things like shorts or standing videos, it just feels a bit weird holding that microphone in my hand. But in order to upgrade my filming or audio equipment and maybe hire a video editor, that requires an investment of money. And so that is why I want to grow the views and the audience of this channel, because it means more revenue, and that means that I can reinvest back into the channel and improve the quality. And to help me to achieve that goal of growing my audience, I am going to start posting a lot more on Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts, because I've had very positive feedback on when I was trying to fix my outfits with the 3-word method, and this is something that I'm going to continue doing in 2025. And I just want to start filming a lot more shorter form content with maybe just short messages that I want to share, maybe outfit ideas and tricks and stuff that maybe don't need a dedicated video, but might be really, really helpful for you. And so if you are on Instagram, you can actually follow me. I'll leave the link below. And if you're not, I will be bringing a lot of that content on YouTube Shorts as well, so you can watch it in here. Now, the next one is something that I had a little bit of a taste of in 2024, and that is working with some of you. And I want to run some workshops because I genuinely loved running the Style Goals workshop. It is something that I do for my day job in terms of leading workshops, not style workshops, but it is something that makes me so happy, gives me a lot of satisfaction, and just helps me to create a sense of community and maybe connect you with each other in a way that YouTube doesn't really allow. And so while I have no idea how this exactly is going to look like in 2025, whether it's going to be doing one-off workshops or whether it's going to be any sort of community or a course or anything like that, I want to be able to create a space where we can have really impactful conversations, where we work together, reflect, and just become more intentional and mindful with our shopping. And the final goal is something that I had a few of you suggest, and that is actually becoming an index stylist. Now, this is something that I have to be honest, I would love to do, but I feel that in order to do that, I actually need to establish my presence a lot more on Instagram, as it is quite a visual platform, and I kind of feel like at the moment, they might not even accept my application, even if I do apply. And so this is one of those reasons where I feel like I really want to do it, it's going to be amazing, but I'm not going to focus extremely hard. It's just more about like, if it happens, great, and if it doesn't, it's also fine. And so please let me know in the comments below, what are your New Year's style resolutions? Did you get any ideas from this video? And if you want to hear a bit more about the Project Zero that I'm doing, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification button because that video is coming very, very soon. I'll see you there.